The countdown has begun. India's moon mission is in its final stages. The Indian spacecraft Chandrayaan 3 is very close to the moon. It is already sending pictures. Take a look at this. Well, so far it is looking good. India's space agency ISRO is confident about a successful landing, fingers crossed. The name of the mission is Chandrayaan 3. In Hindi, Chandrayaan means moon craft. Now, this mission is largely a do-over. Almost 4 years back, India had tried to land a spacecraft. That mission too was called Chandrayaan. It was called Chandrayaan 2. It ended in failure. The spacecraft crashed on the moon. So how is the Chandrayaan 3 doing? It was launched almost a month back. No glitches so far. The mission is going as per schedule. We'll cover the landing live on Firstpost tomorrow around 6 p.m. IST, so make sure you don't miss it. Tonight, we'll tell you about the mission. Why is it significant? And how it could propel India's space program to the top. First things first, why is India doing this? What's at stake here? For starters, some serious bragging rights. If Chandrayaan 3 is successful, India will be the first country to land a craft on the moon's south pole. No country has ever done it. Yes, there have been other moon landings. The US, the former Soviet Union and China, they've all been to the moon. Most missions have landed here. The near side, the side that always faces the Earth, that is the near side of the moon. In 2019, China sent a spacecraft to the dark side. And now India is aiming for this side, which is the South Pole. No one has been able to touch down here. Russia tried to beat India to it, but they failed. The Russian spacecraft Luna 25 crashed on Sunday, so now India gets a clear shot at this landing. Let's also look at the journey so far. On the 14th of July 2023, the Chandrayaan 3 took off with a spacecraft. The Chandrayaan has two parts, a lander called Vikram and a rover called Pragyan. The rover is housed inside the lander. Upon landing, the rover will detach and conduct experiments on the moon. Now, the lander Vikram is named after Vikram Sarabhai, the father of India's space program. And right now, it's the Vikram lander that is preparing to land on the moon. The lander that crashed in 2019 was also called Vikram. So how is this one different? Well, the design is largely the same, but it's an improvement on the old one. Indian scientists took some lessons from the 2019 crash and they've tried to build a better machine. In fact, in 2019, India was very close to a successful landing. The Vikram lander got almost everything right, but when it came 1.3 miles above the moon's surface, something went wrong. The lander had 5 engines. One of them did not work the way it should have worked. The engine had higher thrust. So the lander was moving at a faster pace. The spacecraft tried to correct the speed. It tried to apply the brakes. But due to software glitches, the lander could not control its speed. So there was a hard landing and it crashed. Now this time ISRO has tried to fix the weaknesses. Vikram's landing legs are now stronger. It is carrying more propellant. There are additional solar cells for more power and better sensors to measure altitude. They've also changed the software. This will allow the lander to turn faster if needed. And what will it do once it lands? The rover Pragyan will come out. Then this rover will conduct a series of experiments. They'll happen over a period of 2 weeks, and this is uncharted territory. The south pole of the moon is a mystery. It is believed that this region has frozen water. India's mission could confirm that. And if successful, it could be a game-changing discovery. It throws open many possibilities, like enabling human settlements on the moon. The water bodies could also be a reservoir for fuel, for oxygen, for drinking water. Like I said, many possibilities here. It all hinges on the success of this mission. You'll have to wait until tomorrow to see how it goes, but either way, it is a win, we say. It is a win because just by launching, ISRO has pulled off the impossible. And I say this because this operation, like most of their operations, were conducted on a shoestring budget. Look at the numbers from 2022. America's NASA has the biggest budget, almost $62 billion. India spent close to $12 billion, Japan close to $5 billion, and in fact, China spent close to $12 billion, Japan $5 billion. And where does India stand? Right at the bottom, with a budget of less than $2 billion. In fact, the tales of ISRO's cost efficiency are well known. India's space missions are cheaper than Hollywood films. I'm sure you know that. The most famous example is Chandrayaan, the world's cheapest Mars mission. In 2014, India sent the Chandrayaan at a cost of $73 million. This was less than the budget of the movie Gravity. The film cost $100 million. India's Mars mission, $73 million. And that has become the USP of India's space program. It's value for money. And yet they keep setting bigger, more ambitious targets for themselves. The Chandrayaan 3 is the first step towards this, a bridge towards future missions. In a statement, ISRO has said that Chandrayaan 3 has an objective of developing and demonstrating new technologies required for interplanetary missions. Their next project is Gaganyaan, India's first mission to take astronauts to space. It was supposed to lift off in 2022, but after the failure of Chandrayaan 2, it had to be delayed, so Gaganyaan could now launch in 2025. ISRO is also planning a joint mission with JAXA, that's Japan's space agency. Again, this is a lunar mission. It will explore the poles of the moon. India is increasing its collaboration with the Americans too. NASA and ISRO want to do a mission together. It's planned for 2024 at the International Space Station. And recently, India joined the Artemis Accords too. This is a US-led international partnership. 26 countries have signed up so far. The program is closely linked to America's own space priorities. NASA plans to launch an Artemis mission. It will send astronauts back to the moon, and this time they will explore ways to build a space camp. What purpose will that serve, a space camp? It can become a future base, a base for humans to conduct space launches from the moon and to carry out deep space exploration. The Chandrayaan 3 might end up contributing on this front too. It will study the surface of the moon and its potential for resources. In fact, the Chandrayaan 3 might change the way we look at the moon. The big day is tomorrow. We're keeping our fingers crossed and hoping for the best.